Hi guys, this is Jacqui Cooper with JCooperTravels, and I'm here today with Angela, and we are doing a series of podcasts because we both have dogs and we both love pets. And Angela, I want to thank you again for coming back on. For those that might not be familiar with your academy, can you share a little bit more about what you do? I know today's topic is pet hotels and travel. But why don't you share a little bit more about what you're doing, and then we'll go into our topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. So I'm with Canine Online Academy. It's my own personal company, and we do online training through the Zoom platform. So we're able to service anyone, anywhere, anytime.
So I know that we've been talking about the fact that people are traveling now, or they're starting to, and they're taking road trips. They're, thinking about, possibly booking a family vacation. And many times our pets travel with us, and we have to look for pet-friendly hotels. So the other thing I want to share with everyone is that we've created a checklist that's free that we can send to you, so that way you're able to ask the right questions when you start booking a pet-friendly hotel. And I'm just going to go through a little bit of the checklist, and then I'm going to be asking you, Angela, what kind of things should we as pet owners be thinking about, because there's a lot when we bring our pet into a hotel. So one of the first questions when you're calling up a hotel is to ask what sort of amenities, what does the hotel have? Because they might be pet friendly, but they might have certain things that they will include. And so it's really important, if you're doing a comparison of costs, just to ask that question, because every hotel is a little bit different. The second question to ask is what exactly is their pet policy? Because those policies do vary from hotel to hotel, and they might have certain rooms that are set up for people with pets, and they do fill up fast. So you might need advance bookings, and there might be additional charges or fees for pets. Some hotels allow cats and dogs, but not exotic pets such as ferrets. So again, those are questions to ask. If you are looking for a pet-friendly hotel, I can definitely share with you access to a directory on this Zoom and the podcast. I'll definitely share something with you on that. And then the last thing is ask them if they're pet tolerant or pet friendly, because that's really different. Pet friendly hotels may have hardwood floors, which are easy cleanup for messes. They might have dog runs. They might have doggy daycare. They might have a welcome bag with pet treats or other amenities, while those that are pet tolerant might just charge a fee. So again, if you're actually staying with your family member, which is a pet, you might want to have those little extra goodies. Now, Angela, I know that in bringing my dog to a hotel, she is not properly trained, so I'm definitely going to have to train her. Can you share just some reasons why we might want to do this advanced training? Because again, I can think of all sorts of scenarios that might happen.
Absolutely. First of all, we can help you with that.
I know you can.
But the main things I would look for when I'm taking my dog are some of the basic commands. I really, really like the wait command. You can have your dog in the car. Like for instance, my dog, I tell him to wait. I'm able to get all of my things out of the car. And then as soon as I release him, I tell him, okay, he knows it's safe to jump out of the car. That's a big safety thing. But when you're in the hotel room, it's also a great thing to use when, let's say someone comes to your door, you have room service, or for some reason your door is open. You're telling your dog to wait so they don't rush into the hallway. I would say that's probably my number one, but that is my favorite command. I love that. So, I suggest all of my clients get a good handle on that before they're taking their dog anywhere.
I would agree. The other question I have is, my dog's a little bit older and I was a little bit late on the training side of it. How young can you start a dog for training?
Normally we suggest around 10 weeks when most people are getting them, as a puppy around 9-10 weeks. 9's a little bit too young, but we like to start around 10, but they're never too old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So some hotels, you know, do accept pets, but they have weight or breed restrictions. Um, why would they do that? I mean, if a pet is trained, what are your thoughts about that?
You know, it doesn't really make sense to me. I think they're all the same. I don't know why they have that other than, you know, it could be an insurance
That's
issue
true.
for them. But you know, there's no good reason, and I mean, I'm sure it's something financial or something, you know, legal that's
So
backing.
tied to that, I know that you do all your trainings on Zoom, which is great, which means that you can train anyone anywhere in the world. And I also know that you are certified to do a variety of trainings, so that way the dogs can become good citizens. So when that's another advantage, I would think, that if someone does your training, they can actually have this document to show that their dog has been through that. And that might also be good for hotels. What do you think about that?
100%. If someone were to come to me right now and say, you know, I'm planning on taking this trip, what do you think I should do to prepare? And this is obviously with some time for preparation. I would definitely recommend being able to pass the CGC test, which is the Canine Good Citizen test. And even the second one, which is the advanced level of that. I feel my clients that pass both of those, just because of the way the test is set up, they're able to go out and they're able to behave no matter where they go. That I'm secure with that. You know, if you don't have enough time to do all of that, then I would suggest at least getting some of the major pieces of that down before you head off on your trip.
So the other question that we need to ask our hotels when we book is how many pets are allowed per room. Now, if you are a family with one pet, you don't have to worry about that. But if you're taking two dogs with you, you do need to find that out. Are there any things that maybe from a training perspective that you want to share, you know, in terms of why the pets, if you have more than one dog, why they need to be trained together possibly?
Yeah, you want them to both hopefully be at the same level of training because they're going to feed off of one another's energy as well. So if you have one that's barking the whole time and just completely outrageous, the other dog's probably going to join in on that a little bit. Or maybe they're roughhousing and knocking things around, and you know your neighbors aren't going to like that in the hotel. So it's really important that they're both under control and you're comfortable with their level of training before you take off.
So you mentioned something, you talked about barking, and I want to talk about that in a second, but it also occurred to me that because you're doing Zoom, and I know how you customize everything, you know, for a pet owner that has two, actually, you know, they're actually getting a great deal by hiring you to train, because if they were to go out to a store for a training, they'd be charged by the dog for the training. So you are able to train collectively and customize. Are you able to help on the barking that you just mentioned?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of different ways that you can work on the barking. There's one exercise in particular, teaching the quiet command before they start barking is really useful, but that's something that you really want to get a handle on before you're planning on taking off next week. You know, it's going to take you a while to process. So that's definitely a great command to get working on if you're planning on a big trip. There's also a furbo, which will alert you and tell you when your dog's barking. So then when you're not there, you know your dog's barking, you know you have a problem if you're going to a hotel. So that's something else to consider. I know a lot of my clients have that. So
Interesting. Very cool.
yeah.
So the next question that I always would have to ask is, are there pet fees? Obviously, so you can budget. The other question to ask a hotel is, are pet travelers limited to specific pet-friendly rooms? And the reason for that is that you might also be restricted as to where you can go with your dog, because there are individuals that are not, you know, they don't want to have a pet around. And so that is something that you should ask the hotel. Are there any other things that you can think of from a training perspective that maybe someone should pick up the phone and give a call to you to book your free consultation. Again, we're only talking on this podcast about pet hotels, but there's a lot of reasons why training can be advantageous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another thing that's really important is greeting other people. Even if you're just walking past someone in the hallway, that person may not actually want to greet your dog, but they definitely don't want your dog jumping on them. So that's a big no-no. We want to make sure that you have that under control as well, that you have some sense of control over the dog if you're going to be in close proximity to other people.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So I really appreciate everyone who's listening. Stay in tune for our other series on this podcast. Angela, any last minute thoughts that you can think of?
No, it's been great. Thank you for having me.
So everyone, we do have a free PDF, and we also have, if you check out the box above the podcast or above the Zoom, you'll see ways to contact Angela, and that way you can use her services and ask her any other questions, because she's all about making sure that your trip is fun and happy with all members of your family. So thank you so much today.